Mhm.
What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Casey and Michelle, and we are discussing episode 5 of The Walking Dead Dead City. I have two things to say about this episode. One, everybody and their mama pissing me off in this episode because they're doing dumb shit. Two, I think this is probably the most disgusting Walker episode in the history of
Truly,
Walking Dead.
truly.
Gross. Like, I had to stop this episode several times because I was like, I'm just imagining the smell.
Ugh.
Two, the fact that y'all just going down with no gloves and you going to touch stuff to see what the fuck it is. Like,
but I mean, at this point, you're 37 years into the apocalypse. I'm sure you know your hands.
You said 37.
Hands gonna be dirty.
I'm not touching no
time traveling.
No, I'm not touching no fat. I'm not touching anything that looks like fat. No, absolutely not. You know what? We're gonna have to turn around.
What else you gonna do?
You have no choice.
Turn around and go back and no.
Wait, so you're gonna turn around from you halfway through the goddamn super. You're gonna turn around because y'all don't have no gloves on.
That's disgusting. Like, what if that stuff wasn't solid? You trying to climb, like Ginny ass trying to climb on it. What if she would have just sunk in there?
Right.
Like quicksand.
That's disgusting.
Did you see what was on the screen? Yes, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. But anyway, we're gonna get to all that because this episode, I don't even know where I want to start. Do we want to talk about the people making stupid decisions like Maggie refusing to wear an oxygen tank because
I'm done with that because she's mad that he was a traitor. Put the damn mask on. I don't care at this point. You put the mask on the kid, so put the mask on yourself.
Right.
You're like, trying to survive and take care of your son. Right. I was like, this is stupid.
Bad that you can deal with methane. I was looking at her.
Maybe she was a crackhead.
Episode. I was like, okay, I hear Michelle in my head. She getting on my damn nerves. I was like, Maggie, you know what? Baby, I'm trying to be there for you.
At least she is an all opportunity stubborn person. She don't care who she's stubborn with. Like,
that's true.
No. Like, girl, ma'am, you had to ask for help this whole little trek. So please stop. Please.
Right.
Get your ass off
especially considering what we find out about her in this episode. Like, you sitting here mad because he did what he was trying to do to save his people.
Ma'am. Exactly.
And it's funny
you got the nerve to have an attitude with this man when you technically the biggest traitor of them all.
Girl.
Correct.
I was like, when they started revealing some stuff, and then I went back a second time and watched it, Jenny's facial expressions for everything was making total sense. Total sense. Even when she first got to the bricks, which is what we find out, that's what Maggie's community is called, the bricks. Even that first day, when you look at her and she's looking at them climbing into the silo, why would you be climbing into the silo if the Croat took all your food? And when she noticed it that second time, that was what made her really lit. I was like, you know what? I don't understand. Like, okay, I understand you have to find a reason to tell Negan why you're coming after him, because obviously that's what you're doing now. The Croat is like, oh, okay, I'm taking your son. Here's your whatever. Here's your mission should you choose to accept it. But my thing is, if you had just told Negan flat out, the Croat came, he took my son, told me I had to bring you in exchange for my son. Okay, you know what? Let's go do this and let's figure out a plan.
Come up with a plan. Right.
You didn't have to go through this whole, oh, he took all our grain. He's making us starve, this, that, and the other. However, you got on the Croats radar. And for him to know, okay, you know what? Negan is going to feel obligated to her. Okay, that's all you have to do. Negan would have been like, oh, okay, he took Herschel and he wants me. Okay, let's go make that trade. Especially since we know he really doesn't have much to lose at this point.
Right.
Annie is gone. Joshua's gone. He's been out on his own. Yeah, he has this kid with him, but as far as he knows, Ginny is back at the bricks, so she's safe. He would have easily been like, okay, you know what? I guess I still need to pay this debt. Let's go ahead and do this.
Mhm.
And him being Negan, he would have figured a way out of the Croat. You didn't have to go through this elaborate cat and mouse game, not with Negan. Because now, because of your lies, now you got to deal with this teenager who realizes you ain't nothing but shit. And you lying to her face. Then you're going to be mad at Tommaso because he was a liar. And it's just like, you could have avoided all this mess, all of these deaths, all of this. If you had been straight up from the beginning, you could have avoided a whole bunch of this mess. And then you wouldn't be stuck in the damn sewers with hundreds of gassy, rotten bodies, and half of them like what the Croat was doing. But obviously he wasn't killing all of them that he was using, according to Tommaso. This is this is where his methane bodies are. It's I'm trying, Maggie. I'm trying, but you're making some dumb decisions.
But and it's like, at what point is she gonna be like, maybe I'm a little extreme? Like, I get it. Like,
probably in the finale.
That she right. Let me not give her the credit that she probably deserves, because I mean, it do take a lot of restraint to get to a point where you are cool, so to say, with the man that killed your damn husband.
Civil. Let's not use the word cool. Let's say civil. Civil.
But even in that, this man has shown you repeatedly, over and over and over again, how much he is remorseful, how, because to me, when he was in Alexandria and she went to that prison and he was like, please kill me, because this broken man, you should have relieved all that then. Like, because you went in there to kill him. That was your whole point. I'm going to go in here and I'm about to kill this man. But when you saw how that man was, you was like, never mind, I'm going to let you live with this.
But I think the problem with that is that he didn't just sit around and wait to die.
Yeah.
Like she thought he would. He actually not only stayed alive, but he thrived. And he became a savior of your community. So I know that's probably hard for her to reconcile, but I mean, at this point, you gotta think about it in a logical way. You allowed him to live, and because you allowed him to live, a lot of people that you love also lived. Because if Negan had been dead, one, Judith probably would have been dead in that snowstorm. The rest of the community probably would have been dead because of the whispers. I mean, he killed Alpha. Went so far as to go undercover and screw her in his socks. Like, that's a whole different type of level of dedication. Like, okay, you know what? This bitch needs to get gone. Alpha could have wiped a whole bunch of them out, especially the way that they hoarded all of those walkers, and they brought, they came through the Commonwealth. I mean, they came through Alexandria, and yeah, for every action there's a reaction, and you know, all of your actions have consequences, and it just so happens this consequence, you allowed Negan to stay alive, and he ended up redeeming himself, and I'm going to keep saying it, by saving your people. He didn't even have to do that.
So
and not to mention even Herschel. Remember when Herschel snuck into the goddamn truck?
Mhm.
And in the Commonwealth. He wasn't on the Commonwealth's radar.
At
Know
all.
who the hell he was.
At
So that
all.
so that kid gave you the common decency just to tell him what you were doing, and y'all can come up with a real good plan.
Mm-hmm. Or he could have been like, you know what? I'll go ahead and do this because you know what? My wife is gone. My son is gone. I'm alone.
Yeah, I'll turn myself into him.
Right. He could have, but
But instead, all these people who have died because of her plan. I'm just saying.
Her and Tommaso, let's not forget him. Let's not alleviate him because, and you know,
No. The people will still be alive. This is all Maggie's fault because they could have just went into New York.
No. He set a trap, or rather, he was leading his people. He was leading the Burazi to his people. That's how they found them in that first location.
Right. And I totally get that. That would have been a separate time story we wouldn't even cared about because we wouldn't have even ran into them if she had already told Negan, and then we could have went straight to the doorstep and turned them in.
But that would have been so boring. I will say that. That would have been so boring. It would have just been them two giving each other the stink eye. Maggie having an attitude. Like, excuse me, you can't get me.
Instead, those people, there's nobody left on that group.
At all.
At all.
Whole team wiped out.
I was like,
they should have listened to Luther.
Yeah, but the crazy thing is, well, yes, she does have some responsibility, but Tommaso is what got his people killed.
Absolutely.
He was the one that got them killed because he led the Burazi there. The Burazi knew they were coming. So I don't know what kind of sick, I don't know what you was doing, dude, but yeah, I hate to say it. He got when that walker tore him apart, nothing. I felt nothing. Nothing.
You know what I will say? Why everybody always want what Maggie got? Because if you notice, when she was talking to Tommaso in the tombs or sewer, he was saying, oh, he promised us we were going to go to this new community that had brick walls. We know that's her place.
Mm-hmm.
Why does everybody come for May? The Reapers, when they took Meridian, now these people, like.
Well, okay. So my own personal opinion, because those communities that Maggie are in are thriving because of whatever she learned from Georgie. Because remember,
Alexandria,
huh?
They never came for Alexandria. They never came for what, a kingdom in the fallen. But then, you know what I'm saying?
But you got
they're thriving so much they don't have good security.
We're not even going to talk about the security. We're not going to talk about the security. But as far as Alexandria, you have to remember when Maggie came across Georgie, she was already at the kingdom. I mean, she was already at Hilltop. She wasn't in Alexandria. So, I mean, Alexandria had its own issues. You know, Negan was trying to come for Alexandria, and then he realized, okay, maybe I can't do that because they got people who know how to make bullets that backfire when we try to shoot everybody. So I don't know, but like all of these places, you know, we make a joke all the time about Maggie and how many communities she's been in and how she said the communities always fall. Well, if you found a way to build walls, if you found a way to get fresh water, if you found a way to grow food to the point where it's abundant and people start hearing about this, yeah, I can see why they would come for her. And the Croat was probably like, okay, yeah, so you get the people away from me that's a threat, and then I will get y'all off this island and send y'all somewhere where you can thrive. Now, I'm sure there's probably more to that because, of course, we have one more episode in the season. So I'm sure we'll learn more about why Tommaso ended up making that deal and why the Croat felt like he needed to eliminate all of his people. Because I'm like, these people are just trying to live.
Right.
They're not coming for your arena, or they weren't, at least. They weren't trying to get in. They weren't bothering your walkers. So why work so hard to eliminate them? They're not a threat. I understand that whole, yes, we're going to bring everybody into the fold. We're going to save everybody. But if they don't want to be saved, just leave them alone. It's enough dangers out there. You know what? Eventually, they will become another body for you to put in a tank.
Well, wasn't that Negan's philosophy, though?
Well,
I mean, we have to remember who he was under and who he got it from and who he is idolizing right now. So everything he talking about is Negan-esque.
Yeah.
Because to him, he idolizes that man. The ideology of his setup and how he ran his community and all of the things. You know what I mean? So it's like,
I guess my thing is, if it's been that long that you've been, away from Negan, and you went to somebody who you knew would be able to track him down or whatever the case was, chances are you probably heard rumors about what happened at Sanctuary. So you know that Negan had a fall from grace, and probably that, I mean, even up till this point, okay, yeah, he's going around killing magistrates for a good reason, but nobody knew that at the time.
Right.
But it's like, obviously that philosophy worked until it didn't. So why are you still, and I know we're still trying to learn about the Croat and his apparent obsession with Negan or whatever, but it's just, like I said, some of these things that we're getting in this episode, they just don't make sense.
It doesn't
make sense. I mean, I like the fact that Maggie was able to look at Tommaso and be like, oh, you lying dirty bastard. Because she noticed certain things he was doing. Why did you take your book bag off before, why did you take your bag off before you found the oxygen tanks? And then even when Amaia was trying to get her a flashlight out of his bag,
it was like, no,
like,
don't touch, don't touch the book bag. Don't touch the bag.
Like, oh no, that's not suspicious at all.
Really, that at that point, I'd be like, give me that damn bag because something in it.
Right. Like, you got a weapon, or you got food, you got something. You got a way, you have some kind of weapon that allows you to burst out of a group of walkers that have descended on you for lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I just feel like everybody's making stupid decisions. Like, even with Ginny. And I understand you're sitting here looking at all of this stuff. You're listening to Maggie be upset with Tommaso and all this other stuff, and her, you don't know who he is, talking about Negan. You don't know who he is. You don't know what kind of monster he is, blah, 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 blah. And she just sitting here looking at Maggie with the side eye like, bitch, I don't care about him. I'm thinking about you and how we all in this situation because of you. But still, why are you trying to run through these tunnels to climb up a ladder and you don't know where the hell you're going? Like, come on now.
No whooping. Don't follow directions.
I'm just
go ass down and quit touching shit.
Okay, let's talk about the touching shit too, because again, we're talking about in these tunnels. First of all, at the end of the last episode, you remember we talked about this, how when they were getting ready to escape in the tunnels, they went into this one room, they put a tank in front of the door, and the walkers looked like they were about to get past that tank.
Mm-hmm.
So you go down into the sewers, you don't cover up the hole. So shouldn't there be walkers like falling down that ladder? Because I'm pretty sure they would have gotten in the room by then, because it's not like they're going to be like,
no,
oh,
but you know
nobody
they're not gonna go into that space if there's no noise. So they may have gotten into the room, but when they get in there, there's no movement, there's nothing.
Okay,
They
so
may not hear. Yeah.
Let's talk about this noise, because you are in sewer tunnels. Everything is echoing about you. Y'all sitting there arguing about tanks and getting mad.
That's true.
What you say?
They got super tunnels.
You know what? And don't forget that not all of those bodies down there are dead. You got the one that had the creepy little hands when they first came in the tunnel. And then once the reveal has been made that Tommaso was the one who actually betrayed everybody, and they're walking, you know, he's sitting there pulling bodies out of the mess, I guess, trying to make a way. But also I'm like, when the walkers start grabbing at them and all this other stuff and y'all start fighting, what do y'all do when y'all get finished? Y'all sit down on the bodies of walkers. Like, excuse me. Excuse me.
Ain't nowhere else to sit. No, nowhere. Y'all couldn't just stand for the conversation?
Right. Because I don't need to sit, especially when you see that these things are coming out of... And then y'all are tired.
Go ahead. You shouldn't be that relaxed in the zombie apocalypse anyway.
They got lazy. I told you what Carl said. They got comfortable. They got lazy. They're thinking, oh, we know how these things are going to react. That's not
comfort or lazy. That's stupid as hell.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You using no caution. You just, oh, man, it's walkers. Like you forgot they exist for 5 minutes.
And these walkers were strong. Because y'all couldn't get away from them. They tearing y'all apart. Poor Amaia. I was like, I think I felt bad for Amaia out of anything, because she was the one who really wanted to kill the Croat. She was the one who really wanted to help Maggie. She wanted to save her people. And because her man decided that he was going to sacrifice everybody for her.
Everybody.
She had to die.
And then didn't even get the payoff. Didn't even get the payoff. All that work, no payoff.
And let me ask you a question. So when he was talking to Maggie towards the end, before, when he was talking about, you said we had to make it worth it, or we had to make it, you know, like, was he implying that Amaia was pregnant?
I thought so.
I kept thinking that.
I thought so too.
Even in a different episode, but they never really revealed that. So I was just like, but he kept like dropping, because even when they were talking about, remember when he was sitting at the table and formulating the plan, he had mentioned something then that was kind of roundabout. Oh, she's pregnant. But then
but then I was like, oh, okay, so she gonna go to, you know, Maggie's place and have a baby. But clearly, like, you know, 20 minutes, 20 seconds later, that didn't pan out. So
so I had that impression.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Okay. I just thought it was I was just so confused. I was like,
and maybe they didn't want to make it so clear, because
so that when she got ripped apart, we wouldn't be disgusted. But I mean,
yeah,
honestly, it's a zombie apocalypse. That kind of thing happens.
Right.
So I'm glad they kind of left it up in the air. So
that's why he was so adamant that she had a goddamn mask.
Yeah. But again, let's talk about these masks. Maggie, what the hell are you doing?
Getting on everybody's fucking nerves, Lord.
Like, you trying to help Tommaso move bodies. You can't even walk straight. Your vision is blurry.
You having flashbacks.
And again, I need them to stop showing that goddamn circle flashback. I do not need to keep seeing Glenn get his head beat in. And that's why they're doing that. They're trying to remind us that Negan is the bad guy, but that's not how y'all writing this story.
Right.
Y'all are writing this story like Negan is now on the redemption arc and Maggie is turning into the bad guy.
Right. How dare she be mad at him for killing her husband?
I mean, and you know what? If you're going to be mad at him, be mad and stay mad. Just be consistent.
Right.
Don't keep going back and forth. And I realize it's emotional. I realize that she's got a whole bunch of different emotions going on. But again, it's been like 15 years at this point. You either let it go or you don't. Be decisive in your decisions. Because again, if you got that much hate for this man still, you could have went up to him and told him, okay, look, so this is how this is about to go down. The Croat took my son. He wants you in exchange. And because you still owe me a life, and you will forever owe me a life.
And he would have done it. I
really think he would have. For Herschel, especially now that he's a father.
Yeah.
You make the hard decisions to protect your children. If he didn't understand that before, I'm sure he understands that now, given that he put his wife and his child on a train to Missouri, probably to never see them again, but to make sure that they were safe. I absolutely believe that he would have been like, okay, let's go do this. He wouldn't have held any grudge, I don't think. And then, like I said, they wouldn't have had to go through all the shit that they've going through.
And everybody dying.
Okay, we're gonna talk about one last thing in the tunnels, and then we're gonna go away from that. We're gonna talk about Negan and Pearlie for a minute, because again,
oh god,
oh my goodness.
Okay, tunnel. So of course, after Tommaso and Amaia dies, it's just Ginny and Maggie. They realize that some walkers are about to wake up, and Maggie tells Ginny to escape, to go up the ladder, go out to the street. This goddamn walker or walkers,
walker hybrid,
girl, I don't know what the hell that was, and I don't know who has a crazy enough mind, because I'm like, did the Croat do that? Like, did he really take apart walkers and piece them together like a damn old erector set and have them like, what?
I thought they kind of just melded together. I didn't think that was one where, because they all.
If you see the arms, it's kind of like, it's almost like that that fence that we saw in the building where Negan and Pearlie were. You remember the doll with all the different arms and all the different legs? That's literally what it was. So I feel like some of that, yes, was them melding together, because I think, what is it? It's almost like walkers were walking into each other and they just kind of got stuck there. But that thing,
because the melting fat and stuff, so they are blending.
That's why
together. And then they're trying to, and then when like even one died, the other one is still trying to push itself through the other skin to get to her.
Well, no, I'm saying for it to get that like that to even begin with.
They laid
even now. I'm looking in the background. So this is where they've all stopped and they're just sitting on the dead bodies, and Ginny is sharing her food or her snacks with Amaia. The hand that's coming up behind her is actually coming through a rib cage. So they're just all
mingled up,
whatever. But I need to know, first of all, which character did this, because like I said, if it wasn't the Croat, it was probably somebody in his crew. I need to know which of them is that messed up. And then second, I need to know which Walking Dead writer needs to go to therapy, because for you to think of that kind of shit, I think that goes beyond creativity at this point.
They have to. Well, I mean, we years in, they have to come up with new and exciting walkers. That's not new and exciting for you?
Exciting is not the word I would use. New, yes. Exciting, not so much. Not so much. It's, that thing was so gross. And then here she go getting her foot stuck in a damn rib cage. Like, Maggie, have you not done this before? I mean, granted, I know that thing probably scared the shit out of her, and it would have scared me too. I would have been like, I don't know what I'm doing. At this point, I'm probably going to die, and I'm just going to fight it as much as I can. But, That thing was so disgusting. And it's so bad because you're sitting there, you kill one head and here comes another one. You kill another head, here comes one through the damn rib cage.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. And then of course she gets it off of her. She kills it. She tries to go up the stairs to go after Ginny, and Ginny has taken some of the Walker blood and written liar on the wall. And then that's when we see the flashback of what Ginny knows. And again,
liar.
When she gets ready to leave the brick, she sees somebody, coming out of the silo. And before she hops on that motorcycle, she decides to go see what's going on. She opens up the silo and that thing is filled almost to the brim with grain. So I was like, oh, that's really why she came back. Because she was like, oh, yeah, Negan is he's with a liar. Because at this point, she don't know what he's done. But she know Maggie lied about why they were in New York. Right. And that probably has something to do with why Negan is there. He's in danger. But I was like, Maggie.
I get it. She calls herself saving him.
Yeah, I get that too.
But I'm like, Maggie. You had to have known at some point this is going to bite you in the ass.
It's going to catch up to you, girl.
Like, stop lying. Again, that's the one thing about Negan. He always told the truth. He never lied.
That is true.
He never beat around the bush. He was like straight up, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And this is why I'm going to do it.
You ain't going to like it.
You can like it and you can not like it, whatever.
Right. Because even that day when they had him in a circle and he put Rick in the goddamn trailer, he told him everything. Mm-hmm. What's about to happen? Mm-hmm. Man.
Oh, but yeah, that's and again, I can't even imagine what the smell is like, because not only are those just the dead bodies, those are the bodies that he has used in his methane tanks. Yeah. There's all kinds of stuff coming off of those. And I mean, even Tommaso, even though I don't like him because he was a lying whatever, he was telling her when he was trying to get her to take the tanks, right when she was figuring out that he was the liar, he was the one who's betraying them. When she's sitting there looking at him and she won't take the tank, he was like, what, you telling me you rather smell dead fleshies? And she's still looking at him. He was like, okay, whatever. I mean, I ain't gonna argue with you.
Exactly. And that's exactly the way I would. All right, shit.
All right. Do you,
boo. Do you.
Right.
Are you almost passing out? I'm telling you the result of what's going to happen. You're a small ass lady. And me, I'm a big man. I mean, it'll take me a little longer, but come on now.
And then for you to be that out of it because of the methane, if something happens like it clearly did, because you can't tell me if she was in full control of her faculties, if she had the oxygen, hadn't been exposed to the methane, you can't tell me she couldn't have saved Tommaso and Amaia, or at least Amaia.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, stupid decisions all around. Like, this is the wrong time and place for you to be prideful.
Yeah.
And for you to think you got your shit together, because you clearly don't. How many times did you head dive into a pile of bodies, having hallucinations?
Yeah. She, like you said, this is the episode of the dumbass choices, because, honey.
And I bet you she stank at this point.
Right.
She stank, Jenny stank, just
everybody.
Everybody stank.
Everybody.
Gross. Anyway,
speaking of dumbass decisions, Pearl is shooting the thing at Negan, pulling the door open, letting him off.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been saying this since the beginning. I do not like Pearlie.
He's a dick.
And this episode just goes to show how far Negan has come, because especially after that second time, when he went through the throwback door, and I'm calling it the throwback door, the don't open dead outside door. And Negan was like, okay, look, I saved you. You stop trying to take me to New Babylon. And Pearlie was like, no, bye.
Yeah.
I would have turned around and walked off.
Yeah. What you gonna do? You're barely walking. You're hobbling every goddamn well. And what he said, I could leave you here and let these walkers eat your ass up, and my
right,
it's gone.
Like, I'm sure that wound is like, okay,
infected as hell.
Maybe infected, but I don't think y'all done came across any bandages or any needles and thread. So you have a gaping open wound, and all of these walkers coming after y'all. First of all, y'all asses weren't running fast enough when you were in that courtyard, and the walkers, I'm sitting there looking like y'all just strolling like, hello. I mean, and I get it.
Negan, it's a Sunday morning stroll.
You trying to stay with him, but you know what? Ain't nothing good gonna come out of both of y'all being dead. If at some point he can't keep up enough, especially this is not somebody you give two fucks about. This is somebody who's been trying to kill you and who's still no. You know what? Deuces. I'm gone.
I'm sorry.
I'm gone.
Fend for yourself. Use your little stick rocket thing, string thing. You got one, maybe two chances to kill some things with it. You better make it count. Because I'm about to leave your ass here.
One. Because once you shoot that thing off, you got to sit there and reel it in like a fishing pole. He wouldn't have had two choices.
You wouldn't have.
I mean, he could have hit him with it.
Not with that leg.
Straight. Negan could have been left him. So
been left
him. So I'm just, this episode really was like, why? And I'm trying not to be critical because we've been critical. But why? There's no character development or growth.
For Maggie. We get a little bit of the background from Pearlie in this episode, right?
We do.
When they're on the bus and they give,
we do. He worked at the boat depot. Yeah, we do.
That and then he also tells Negan about his brother.
I get that.
The whole back.
But why do you have such a passion to get this man turned? He even told you what they did to his wife is worse than what I did to them. Why? You are also running from another person. Why?
Because
that's still not telling me why.
Because you are trying to ignore your guilt for leaving your brother behind by pursuing somebody else who did something bad. You think, oh, okay, well, I did this one thing and I left my brother to die by himself and blah, 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 blah. So if I catch this person who did something worse than what I did, then that'll make up for it. That's probably the mindset he's in. He's gonna right a wrong by doing something quote unquote right. Dude, wrong thing. Because like you said, the minute that he told you they almost killed my wife. If you had seen the condition she was in when I found her, you would have done the same thing or worse. That
right. And, told you right. And then to right or wrong that was right. I'm still thinking then they should have changed the story a little bit so it can have something where someone did something bad, not that you abandoned your brother.
Yeah.
I don't know. It still doesn't add up, but we're going to go with it because that's what we're given.
Yeah.
I mean, it's lacking some depth to it. So but I'll go with it.
Mm-hmm.
He's passionate about his job because he wasn't passionate about saving his brother. So he's passionate about saving the world. But let's save ourselves first because you struggling.
We try that.
Just a little bit. I just, like I said, I've been saying from the beginning, Pearlie is not my favorite character. I don't like him. To me, he serves no purpose right now.
He doesn't.
He's about to get Negan killed.
He doesn't.
Negan is trying too hard to do the right thing, and it's going to end up getting him killed. And then I'm gonna be really mad because I'm like, you survived all this time just to die because of some dumbass with a grudge.
Right. But then we need Pearlie to be alive because he's the only one left.
We don't care. The show started with Maggie and Negan.
It go end with Maggie.
Go back to the
and then there's a season
people and start the Walking Dead 2.0.
And there's a season 2. I'm sorry. This was rushed. It was rushed.
Mm-hmm. Especially now that we know that there is a season 2 coming.
Yeah, this show was rushed, and I understand because you want us to keep us there. We were on this high when the show ended, and it's like we don't want it to go away. It's okay if we had a break. Mm-hmm. It would have been okay.
Yeah.
For you to tighten it up some.
It will know what it is you only gave yourself 6 episodes and try to squeeze everything in there.
That's true too.
Had they kind of stretched it out a little bit, but I know they don't want to feel like they dragging the story out because they did that on The Walking Dead a few times.
Yeah.
Right. And this story should not be drug out either. So no. I mean, but they could have told just a tad bit better story that was a little bit more interesting.
Right.
Like, I don't know who I care for. I don't really know if I care for the teenage girl, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I do want her to say something.
Okay, but even with all of that, 6 episodes, like I said, we know we're getting a second season. They had to have known that going in, because other than that, like, you introduced this whole brand new character who is, I don't know, I guess she's like the godmother or whatever. She's the one who's like running things in the theater, and the Croat apparently reports to her, and
that was interesting too.
And also telling her about the new Babylonian marshals. He was like, they're here on the island. So now you're telling me that you're about to tie these 2 stories together, and that's why Pearlie is part of it. But still, it's like at this point, it's sense. You introduce this woman who clearly has no love for the Croat. Like, he also holds her in reverence, and she is acting like he is like the little fruit fly next.
Right. And he providing power. So I'm confused because I would have just better off that he was the one in charge. But I didn't need someone above him.
It's clear that he ain't no leader, though.
No, and that shows that he needs to follow. But I'm just saying it's like, but you don't show her now. Now
in episode 5 of 6. But that's why I said they had to have known that they were going to get renewed, because other than that, even though we don't have, we don't know what's coming in the 6th episode and how they're going to move that forward. Still, it's kind of like, why would you just introduce somebody just for 2 episodes? And I know they've done it before, and we've asked that question again before. Why would you do that? Because then if the show hadn't gotten renewed, then you would have just left us.
We'd have had a whole bunch of questions.
We'd have had a whole bunch of questions, and people would have been hella pissed. So I don't know. This whole Croat thing needs to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
This Pearlie thing needs to make sense, especially now you're introducing a new character that supposedly ties these 2 whatever together.
Mm-hmm. But the Croat does make sense to me. The reason why it makes sense is because he finds out Negan is still alive. He wants Negan to join his group. He probably wants Negan to join his group to take over the lady.
But no, I get that. Telling her.
I know, but I'm just saying, I'm like, I can get those feels. I understand his obsession with Negan. I get that. Mm-hmm. I totally get that. I think that's the only thing I get. I get.
I get nothing else.
Okay, so I
get that he used Maggie.
Mm-hmm.
I can go with this. It's the other stuff around there we just need to clean up. And I get Maggie didn't tell Negan. It would have been the greater thing to do because she knows that he can strategize too, and they can find a way to get the son.
Right.
But she's like, well, this helps me because maybe he will die in the process. So I will feel better about it. But at this point, and I'm gonna ask,
you don't want him to. He can't die.
But I'm gonna ask people, people who have to deal with this in real life, like, do you get to a certain point where you stop wanting that other person to die?
I've read stories. I've read different stories.
Like, do you get to I don't know. I mean, I know some people have to forgive for them to move on or whatnot. It's good for you to do that, but do you get to a point where you're like, I don't have to talk to them, but they can still live so they can suffer? Or do you want them dead still?
But I guess the problem is she literally sat there and looked him in the face and told him she didn't want him dead. She told him that she saw that he was, whatever. He was trying, he was changing, he was different. And you allowed him to leave with his wife and unborn child. So it's kind of like, don't renege on that. If you're gonna make that decision,
stick by it.
You gotta find a way to have your peace with it, because again, we know that there's some tension in her relationship with Herschel. It has to do a lot with that, because if this is your focus, if this is how you've been, then Herschel's probably like, oh my God, I'm so sick of hearing about this.
Right.
He treated like he do now.
But then you say this, so that would have been the point where you do tell, like, this man, Negan, this man is looking for you. He took Herschel because of you. And I mean, I know you have saved my life and you have saved Herschel's life. You kind of still owe us a little bit. So let's figure something out and get my son. And you can take care of this man because he really wants you.
Right.
So you could have gave him that, especially if you had these feelings of he's changed, he has a family now. Like, give him the heads up, because y'all could have got away with not running into Pearlie. You could have figured some things out. It's like, work as a team.
Maggie don't want that. Maggie liked the stress life. She got to.
She does.
Anything that could be I don't want to do these, but let's do this the hard way. She signs up for the hard way.
Yeah. But I just, one phrase I've been repeating with this show, make it make sense. And it's like, with only one episode left, you don't really have time to tie everything together in a satisfactory way. And then you just kind of, I don't know, you kind of leave things up in the air, because like, you have Negan and Pearlie on the bus, with Pearlie trying to get some rest so they can go do whatever they need to do. You have Maggie and Ginny coming out of the tunnels. Of course, Ginny fled, left that message that called Maggie a liar, and again, that's when we see the flashback of what happened. And then Ginny goes out and she shoots off the flare so that Negan can find her. Negan sees it, and of course he probably isn't thinking about the fact that this is Ginny, because as far as he knows, Ginny is in the bricks.
Yep.
So he could think it's Maggie. It could be something totally unrelated, but it's like, at this point, I just don't know what they're gonna do for the next, what's it been, like 45-minute episodes? Like, how are you gonna tie this together and not leave it so that we're looking at this like, really, this is what y'all did? I mean, like you said, I still like it. It's still Walking Dead. It's still Negan. It's still Maggie. I still like it, but I just feel like there was so much
they
that
missed,
didn't make sense. And even the little things that I guess they weren't expecting us to pick up on, like when Negan and Pearlie walked into that room where the corpse was that had, committed suicide with the axe in his head. One, they didn't close the door. Two, a walker walked straight past the room, didn't turn, didn't look, didn't nothing. Like I said, Pearlie is sitting over there smelling like fresh blood barbecue. And the walker didn't even pay attention. Like this.
He didn't smell him. His nose was broken.
No.
That's just like when the walkers were walking past on the street and they came out the building to go down the subway. Like, the walkers didn't hear y'all open that door and turn around like, what? Because in the other Walking Dead show, they can hear a mouse squeak across the floor and they're going rabbit trying to get it.
Get their lunch.
But y'all not hearing 14 people walk out of a building? Footsteps.
No, they tiptoeing.
Nope.
Tommaso telling Maggie that, oh, that's methane coming from the sewers. Like, your walkers didn't hear you about. It's just little bitty things that, because we watch the other show, we pay attention to. And it's like they're just throwing them in there. Or I don't know, maybe 15 years down the road, maybe the walkers don't care about what you whispering over here. They just, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
They're variants.
It's not making sense to me.
And then that's another issue I have too, because like that's not even shown. And even Negan saw that, you know what I'm saying? Like they experienced that. So I guess that's only in one part of the world.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't understand why they introduced variant walkers in the final season anyway. Like, and everybody was treating them like they were brand new. Like, no, we had those variants at the beginning. I guess maybe the big deal of it was that it was so far into the zombie apocalypse that this was something that was coming back around, because we hadn't seen that for a while.
Right. And it got a little bit more extreme, when they start scaling the house.
Certain things like, okay, when Deanna died, Deanna was in the upstairs bedroom, but walkers were coming up the stairs, rushing her.
Mm-hmm.
How did they get up the stairs? So it's just.
And Ginny in the beginning turning the doorknob.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing that now. So I don't know. Again,
we're probably gonna see it in Daryl Dixon, since we got radioactive.
Right. Yeah. So I'm like, we should see it there, because that's the last part too. That was it. World Beyond.
Yep.
Okay. So we should hopefully see a continuation of that.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's something that you put a story together that's compelling and is true to the character. Right. And it makes sense.
Yeah. Because the first thing you're going to have to explain to me is how the hell Daryl Dixon ended up in France.
And not floating on the back of no fucking boat. Because you know how long you'd have to be on the fucking boat for the waves to take you from New York. Not even New York, because even he was in, say he was in New York, even from New York to he'd have been dead. It'd have been a skeleton falling up off that boat.
Because we already figured out this story before it happened, that it had to be that Herschel was kidnapped. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't it have been interesting if he ran away to join a group?
That would have been interesting.
And this is a group that reminded her of Negan because of whistling, and that's why she grabbed him to be like, you need to help me get my son out this cult.
Yeah.
They could have played it a number of ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, and even still with all of this, like this episode by itself, we didn't even get Maggie and Negan together at all. So it's kind of like bringing these two characters together, these polarizing characters who have such a explosive history together. I'm sitting here thinking that the show is supposed to be about some kind of closure. That's what I thought, before we ever watched an episode. Like, why else would you put these two together? Like, we already knew it was going to be something that happened probably to Herschel, and Negan was going to come help because he felt obligated. So in a sense, we are kind of still getting that vibe. We do know that that's kind of sort of what's going on, even though it's more so Maggie misleading him. And I'm really interested to see how Negan is going to react to this, because he's going to find out at some point, especially once he realizes Ginny is on the island. Oh, that's about to be some shit.
Yep.
But it's just, again,
and then because with their names together, you want it to be they're working together.
I just needed to be closure, like
right. And the closure could be them working together to get the son in those discussions and learning about, learning about each other. But they really haven't.
I mean, we've gotten a little bit of that between Maggie and Negan, but I still feel like
it's not enough. I mean, it was more in the regular Walking Dead than it was to me.
But see, I think part of the reason with this show is because Maggie is doing all of this under false pretenses.
Right.
So even though, like, even in the instances where we've seen them kind of opening up to each other, and you see where there could be some kind of bridge between them, she's either pulling back because she's feeling, she either pulls back from it because she feels guilty because she knows what she's about to do. And especially now that we see the flashback where the Croat handed her the paper, I really think that was the paper she was holding when they were doing the little prayer thing around the TV, around the table. I really think that's what it was, because at that point she was probably feeling guilty. And remember, she was going to tell him about it the next day. And then she realized that he killed Luther. And she was like, no, you keeping secrets, blah, blah, blah. Bitch, you keeping the biggest secret of them all.
Right. So,
yeah. The point. I don't know. It's just make it make sense. Make it make sense. I mean, I do like the fact that we do see Negan connecting with other people. Like, okay, once Pearlie gives his little story, talks about his brother who, got addicted to drugs, attacked their mom, and that was the reason why they left. And you see Negan kind of, okay, so this dude has a story too. Okay. So, they have that little moment, but it's still kind of like, I still don't know if I trust Pearlie. Like, yeah, Negan sat up here, he patched you up, he's keeping you safe, he's keeping watch so you can get rest, so you can be as best as you can be when it comes time to get away from these other walkers. But it's like, I don't know. Maybe Pearlie was working for this chick that the Croat is working for too. I don't know, because other than that, like, you have the new Babylon badges and you're like, oh, the marshals are here. And she's like, first of all, you got Negan here and you lost him. And now you got the marshals on my eye. Like, what the fuck am I paying you for? That's kind of her attitude. But of course, she's a lot more stoic than that. But I don't know. I guess I just want to see who she is and what her deal is in all of this. Like, is she the one that's actually in control of Manhattan? Is she the one that's actually in control of the Croat? Is she family? Is she, like, I need to understand what the deal is with her.
I'm sure at some point we'll find out.
Yeah. At some point, we only got one episode.
At some point,
at some point in season 2.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be season 2, because you can't tie those two together with the Croat showing her a badge. Clearly tying these two groups together. Like, so what's the history? So yeah, you can't just throw that to us and then be like, oh, okay, by the way, the show is over. Again, we're getting the second season. Don't know when right now, because I don't know. I don't think they had started filming before the
writer's strike.
So I would guess at this point it might be 2025 before we get season 2. I mean, we're already more than halfway through 2023.
Right. So, and it may not not until maybe even after January.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just want y'all to make it make sense. Please give Pearlie something else to do other than trying to take Negan in.
And keeping that look on his face.
Right.
because even I would be like, okay. So you're saying that this lady's son has been taken, and you're trying to help her get her son. Okay, well maybe I can. I'm gonna help because a kid is in danger. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna help you guys. But then afterwards, we're gonna have to square this up. Now you're gonna have to go to court and stuff. Okay.
They don't have.
But I'm gonna help you.
It ain't no court. Remember, it's hang him in the square.
I know, but I'm just trying to be like, there's a kid in danger, and you're like, I don't care.
They're living in the zombie apocalypse and have been for at least the last 15 years. Kids are always in danger. They're probably he's probably one of those people who's, I won't say like insensitive or whatever, but
insensitive is the word.
Herschel being missing has nothing to do with his agenda. And
again, I know, but he can try.
Who he's working for. We don't know why. We just know, oh, you killed a magistrate. Well, guess what? Your magistrate was robbing and beating and possibly raping folks. So he probably got what he deserved.
Right. Fuck your magistrate.
Right. So anyway, I don't think we missed anything. Tommaso was an ass, but he got what he deserved, and poor Amaia did too. I just felt so bad for her once she realized, once Maggie told her what was going on, and it started clicking for her. Like, wow, all of our people are dead because of you.
Oh, man.
Right, and she could have survived.
Even Esther, the old lady who he was so broken up about. Like, what did you think would happen?
Right.
When you made a deal with the devil?
Well, he did say, he did say, I thought they would have choices like other people have choices, because sometimes he gives people choices and sometimes he doesn't. Like, he's very finicky about that. So he had him believing that, oh, I'm going to give your people a choice. He didn't.
You can either die here or die there.
But you know what? I will say this too. Similar to Negan, you can have all the good intentions, but if the people who are following you don't, and they think, oh, he's being weak by giving them choices, now we're going to take care of this, like Simon and the Scavengers, like the Croat and the girl, after Negan told him to let her go. He's probably the same way. He probably was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll give you some options, I'll give you some choices. And the people who follow him was like, no, we're going to kill the old lady.
Well, first of all, I don't think they even say anything to him because they know his ass is crazy. So that's why you never know which coin he gonna flip.
Right.
Like, he gonna give people choices, he gonna kill them. He gonna serve them up as dinner. He not.
Did like Hornsby had a little coin.
Yeah, like, he crazy now.
Well, yeah. Well, and then remember he
gonna put me in the pit.
In the octagon that they should have went in. To say, you know what? I'm not
okay. We're gonna let go. We're
gonna let that go. Y'all have any final thoughts on this episode and going into the season finale? Like, what do you want to see in the season finale? Everything I need them to rescue Herschel. I don't need that to go into another season.
I don't know anymore.
Hopefully they get him back. That's the plan. Get him back.
Yeah, just get him back.
Hook a crook. Maybe Maggie will come clean and say, this is really what I did to you.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What do you think is gonna happen between Negan and Maggie? Like, when she comes clean for that, because she's got to come clean.
But she's not
gonna come clean
at all. He might figure it out, but she ain't gonna come clean. And she is too fucking stubborn to admit she was fucking wrong.
Yeah, I think he probably suspects that, okay, Maggie ain't been completely on the up and up. So, especially after that,
he should have had his guard up anyway. Like, why would you trust this woman fully? Like, anyway. Especially with, you already know she giving you attitude. You already know she ain't fucking with you like that for real.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Why would you be foolish to give 100% faith? Oh, she's gonna do the right thing by me. What? First chance she get to betray you, and it's for her kids. She gonna
yeah. I was gonna say as soon as she has Herschel back, yeah, he better be watching. He better either be looking over his shoulder. Or he better take Ginny and run.
as far as he can.
Yeah. Okay, well, we only have one episode left for
Dun, dun, dun.
Dead City. Hopefully, they will answer more questions in that episode as opposed to giving us more questions to ask. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So, on that note, that's it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening, and we hope you join the conversation next time.